as off as it was in person, but I can tell you, there was something very wrong about this guy. It was just something about the way he acted
look at how
and
he
said everything
built.
that gave me chills. I waited for a minute.
Like honey. Honey, 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 honey.
What's going on, y'all? It's Honey here, back with another video. Today we're gonna be reacting to horror stories. I know. I don't know why, but horror stories is kind of amusing to me. Like, I mean, the stories just be so crazy. But do know, I'm gonna be reacting to any and everything. Remember to splat that like button, comment, and share. And if you want to become a Honey member, subscribe to this channel. And along with that, get you some water and some pizza, because this horror story is gonna be about, a DoorDasher. And I know a lot of people have been DoorDashing before, Ubering, GrubHubbing, whatever. I have Ubered and I have GrubHub, and I have did a little bit of DoorDashing too. So I know a lot of people probably gonna relate to this video. That's why I'm doing it. But let's go. Alright.
I spend a lot of my spare nights doing deliveries for DoorDash. It's my way of getting extra money while also not needing to commit to a more strict second job. I started driving around 9 p.m. on this night and steadily took on some orders until 11, where it slowed down a bit. During this time, I just drove around the shopping center that had most of the fast food restaurants people often ordered from, and eventually another order came through. It was a regular order to be delivered about 4 miles away. After getting the food, I started the directions to the address, and it was almost immediately apparent that it wasn't a house. I scrolled in on the map, which only showed streets and buildings, and the address it pointed to was along a street that had no buildings on it. It looked kind of like an empty plot of land, but the DoorDash map was never that great, so I just started driving and decided to at least check it out and maybe call the customer if there was an issue.
Look, I have did orders like that before when it wasn't like no house or nothing right there. I'm like, what the heck is this? Where am I delivering this stuff to? So
I drove
yeah.
out, taking just under 20 minutes until I reached the street it was on. This street was very bare, no houses or crossroads, and no cars driving on it. When I got to the end, it became a gravel road, and on the side was a small wooden sign that was too weathered to be legible. I pulled on.
It's like I remember this one delivery I had, and it was nighttime. I drove on some lumpy roads for, well, I would say it's dirt roads. I don't know because it was dark. I drove on this dark road for about 20 minutes trying to get to this house. And this house was like literally all the way down the road. It was the most creepiest thing. I thought I was going to get kidnapped or something. I literally had to set my location to my siblings to let them know, like, if something happened to me, I'm over here. Like, I mean, I done been through some stuff like this before, and like the house was like, it was by its lonesome, and it was all the way towards the back of some woods or something. It's been a few times I've been through this stuff, but let's get back to the video.
Into the gravel and turned my brights on, and right away I could see something far off down the road. I drove in closer, and as I approached it, my phone dinged to let me know that I'd arrived. In my headlights was a small mobile home, or some kind of RV. and on the door were poorly painted numbers. I looked back at my phone.
Somebody
2760.
spray painted the numbers on there.
It was the address. I got out, holding the food in my hand as I walked up to the RV. Getting closer, it was a bit unsettling to look at. It was overgrown and old.
That make your butt clench.
Considering it was a mobile home meant to be moving around. I gave it a knock and waited. This was a rare cash order, which made more sense once I saw the place, but it definitely didn't make me feel good having to stand here. As I looked around, an eerie feeling loomed over me. This place was surrounded by the woods with no lights anywhere. Past the RV, it was complete darkness. I heard something from inside, and I prepared for them to open the door, but then a voice to my right startled me. I looked over and saw a man
heck no.
The RV.
I would have jumped in my car and dipped.
And I nodded, apologizing.
Why is his mouth so big?
I handed it off and said his total.
Oh, he ought to ate you and the dang on food.
$5 bill, then smiled again and said he just needed to grab the rest.
Oh, heck no, you can keep the change. You can keep the change. Hey, thanks for the tip. But you can keep the change. Look at his smile. He's smiling from ear to ear. Heck no. I would have been like, look, you can keep the change. Hey, thank you for the tip. I'm not money hungry. I'm good with the little $5.
Turned and walked back around the RV while I stayed where I was. This whole interaction in writing doesn't seem as off as it was in person, but I can tell you there was something very wrong about this guy. It was just something about the way he
look at how he built
that gave me chills. I waited for a minute or so before getting more nervous and looking around the corner.
Ready to get somebody.
In the distance, I saw a figure standing by what looked like the dark outline of a shed. They were not walking, they were just standing there. As the fear grew inside me, my head jolted around, hearing the door to the RV opening. A different man looked out at me, and just as I started to greet him, he slammed the door shut. My heartbeat now intensifying.
Oh, so that's not even the same person.
He was now walking back toward the RV, but
that's not even the person he's supposed to be delivering it to.
In the moment, I couldn't tell exactly what it was, but it was either a long bat or a rifle. I ran back to the car, getting in and turning it on with shaky hands as I put it in reverse. The man came around the side of the mobile home and stood calmly in the darkness as I drove off. I don't know what happened there, but I wasn't exactly keen on finding out.
Yeah.
I went straight home afterwards and debated calling 911, but was caught up on the fact that I didn't actually know what was going on. In the end, I made the regretful decision not to notify the police. Whatever happened that night will remain as just the strange encounter it was, with no answers to the true nature of it.
Oh, that's crazy. Let me know what you would have did in a situation like that. You know, drop that comment below. And let's just continue on to the next video. Because that was crazy. Yeah, I would have took that $5 and dipped. I wouldn't even stayed there long. And the person that like answered the door, he like, who in the heck is you? And slammed the door. So that was like, that was a setup. He was that clown was ready to kill somebody. But I'm surprised he ain't killed a dude in a trailer. I mean, yeah, no, I don't know. Let's go to the next one. All right.
I work at a 24-hour drive-through restaurant, and this had happened only a few weeks ago. I'm a crew manager, but for the most part, I just do the same things everyone else does, which is cook and take orders.
Flipping burgers and fries.
Hours, we always have at least two people, one being a manager, and the other usually being a cook. On this night, the cook had called in sick, and when I called the others to see if they could cover his shift, none of them said they could.
Hold up.
So by 12 a.m., I was the only worker there. Now usually the restaurant doesn't get busy overnight, and more employees come in at 4 a.m., so it wasn't an entire shift alone, but it still meant that for 4 hours, I had to do everything myself. I left my headset on in case someone came to the drive-thru, then started working on the tasks I had for the night. I started by scraping and cleaning the stovetops, but a few minutes in, I was interrupted by a banging sound from the front of the restaurant.
Oh, heck no. You would have seen something like that?
Seeing a man standing at the front door and banging on it. Then he pressed his face against the glass and looked inside, scanning the whole room before his eyes set on me. I walked over to the door as he stared at me.
Oh, he got...
When I got closer, he backed up and waited.
He got some big
kahumas. I was going to open it. I yelled through the glass that our dine-in area was closed and that he needed to use the drive-thru if he wanted to order something. He looked confused, so I yelled again that the doors were locked and he had to use the drive-thru. He showed no response that time, not giving me any idea whether he understood me or not, so I just turned around and walked back to the kitchen.
I hope he don't open that door.
I figured he'd have to get the hint at some point that the doors weren't opening. I continued working on the stovetops, spending at least 15 to 20 minutes on them. Throughout this time, I had gone once to check the front to see if the man had left, and from what I could see, he was gone. The whole parking lot was empty, and the man was not at the door. But it was a couple minutes after finishing with the stoves that I got an alert from my headset that someone was in the drive-thru. I turned on my mic and asked for their order while walking to the window, but nobody said anything. When I got to the window, I immediately saw on the camera that there wasn't a car out there. I looked around the screen and didn't see any movement either, so I ignored it and started walking back. But as I got to the back room, I slowed to a stop when I thought I heard something. I stood in place and listened as footsteps slowly walked above me on the roof of the building. They were careful steps, not making much sound aside from the roof creaking, but I had no doubt that there was someone up there.
Hey, no. I would have called a cop.
I'm
like, look, somebody up here on this roof.
Moving down the ceiling until I saw the ladder leading to the maintenance hatch, and that's when I realized what they were doing. I sprinted over to the ladder and started looking for some sort of lock to keep the hatch from opening, but I'd never even used it, so I had no clue how it worked or if it even locked. Then there was a loud creak from the ceiling directly above me, and a few thuds came from the outside of the hatch. A moment passed, then the hatch creaked open slightly, and through the small gap, all I saw were a set of eyes staring back at me.
Benny Hill to the exit.
Hearing loud thuds from where the hatch was as I quickly unlocked the door and ran for my car. I called the police as I sat inside and frantically looked through the windows of the restaurant.
He inside the building.
On the phone, I saw a shadow moving by the front counter.
Oh, he can have the building.
Standing in the far back of the restaurant, but was looking in my direction. After a moment, he turned and disappeared behind the kitchen, leaving me in a panic until the police made it. They searched inside and outside, going on the roof.
Let me guess, they found nothing.
But the man had already run off. Nothing from the place was missing either. No equipment or money was taken. Nothing.
Yeah, because he wanted to take your life.
And left. I tried to not think about it too much, but it's hard not to come to the conclusion that he was there for me.
Told you.
Like I said, this happened pretty recently, so there's still not much of an update on it. Even with his face on the cameras, there's yet to be a confirmed identity. The owner of the building added a padlock to the inside of the hatch though, which should have been done before, but I guess it was just an inconvenience. I still worry about the man's intentions, and if he could be watching for me to be alone again, waiting to do whatever it was he tried before.
Well, hold on. Well, I guess that was crazy. I guess this basically teaches you not to be alone all the time. And especially at work. Especially at work. Hey, when you Ubering, make sure you have somebody, or make sure you got some protection with you. And not just Ubering, DoorDash and GRUBHUB and all that. Make sure you at least have something with you, some protection or something. Me, I keep mace. I keep something with me. Or you can have somebody with you. And with this other video, don't be alone working, trying to close up the shop at night. Have somebody else with you. Because stuff like this could happen. But yeah, this was pretty crazy though. I mean, it wasn't all like that. It wasn't always scary, but yeah, it's always gonna have some crazy faces on here. But like always, splat that like button, comment, share this video, and if you want to become a new 100 member, remember to subscribe to this channel. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night, and thank you.